Hello everyone. The testing will start once it is um 7 p.m. Can you hear me? Hello everyone. The testing will start once it is um 7 p.m. Can you hear me? I'm here. Yeah. Hello everyone. The testing will start once it is um 7 p.m. Can you hear me? I'm here. Yeah. You should. Huh? Okay, Olufa. So what do we need to do? The children should try and keep quiet. They should use volume a bit and they should try and keep quiet. Okay, can I get a link so I can serve people? On which group? But am I muted? Can people hear me? So Zoom, people can hear me on Zoom, Ali. All right, great. But it's better I show this, I post this by 7, Ali. It's better I send that we're live by 7. I should say it now. Yeah, he's asking to know this guy, remember? So that does that mean I need to keep admitting people? No. Try and join by your phone. There's a waiting room. Hello, Fife. Let me know if you can hear me. We're still testing. It's just before 7.
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
You can hear me,
Yes, sir.
but it's not so loud, eh?
It's loud though.
Oh, it's loud on your hand. It's not loud on my own hand. Okay, but it's loud on your hand, Abby.
I can hear you audibly.
As in, is it loud and clear?
Yes. Except you want to bring where you are speaking to closer.
No, no, no. It's fine. It's fine.
Uh,
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello, people, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
I
Sorry,
can't see
network
you.
went. Okay, network went off for a few seconds. How about
Oh, I can
now?
see you now.
All right, great. I'm going to share my screen and just try and optimize it. Okay, I see a few people are entering so let me just drop a link for people to join. Just a few minutes. I'm trying to share for people to join. Uh, welcome. I see those of you that are here. It's good to have you. Just a few minutes trying to post it across board for people, guys to join. So, but once it's 1-2 minutes, we'll go nonetheless. I know we are putting out also the what's it called, the YouTube link, so that people can probably catch up there. What are you guys doing? All right.
We're good.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. But since it's recording, we can go ahead. All right. Hello everybody, and welcome. Prefer you could do me a favor. Whenever there's someone in the chat room that I need to admit, please let me know so that we can put it out there. I know we had 32 people register for the meeting, so I'm waiting to see everybody. But can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to see anybody that needs to be admitted from here.
Sorry,
Since
I
I'm
didn't get
not
that.
here. I said I can see your screen, but I'm not sure I'll be able to see anybody who
Oh yeah,
wants to
yeah.
be
Since you're not
admitted.
an admin. Okay,
Yes.
okay. I understand that. I understand that. Okay. So let's it's a perfect opportunity to just say a word of prayer. Father, thank you for this opportunity and this honor you for what we're doing and what you're doing. Accept my thanks in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's go straight into it. We don't have all the time in the world. Okay, I'm trying to move the screen now. All right. So welcome everyone for those if you're watching for the first time or if you are here already, welcome. And this is our webinar where we are having farm banking. And the agenda for today is clearly spelled out. We're going to have our introduction. We're going to give our welcome thoughts, and we're going to share briefly about permaculture. And then also we'll introduce you to farm banking. And then we'll also then talk about the link between agriculture and architecture. It's very interesting. It may look as if how do these meet, but I can tell you for a fact that there is a link between agriculture and architecture. And then we're going to talk a little bit about permaculture so that you see permaculture and use, you see ideas. And then we look at a few of our project examples, and then we'll take it up from there. Okay. Going forward, please let me know if the screen is changing enough or fast enough for you. because it seems not to be changing fast enough even here where I am. You can just let me know in the chat box or probably say, okay, it's finally changed here. Please let me know if you can see it. Dotun, you're also welcome. Okay, I want to know if you can see it. Okay, I think because I'm on welcome thoughts now. And for our welcome thoughts, we're saying that you've heard it said, we're adding to the narrative. They have heard it said, the popular statement that you don't have to wait, don't wait to buy land and wait. But we're adding to that narrative. And what we're adding to that narrative is to say that rather than just buying land and wait, you can plant on the land and gain as you wait. So essentially, we're bringing two different or separate industries and professions together. And we're joining that by saying that architecture, agriculture find a common ground, and that common ground is permaculture. And permaculture provides a very good opportunity for us to express that. All right. Moving on now. It's a little slow in changing the screen. I hope you are able to see it on your own end there. Okay, so now we're introducing land banking. Now, land banking is the conventional practice where people buy land as an investment and they hold it for future value and they don't have any specific plan to develop it. And you can see from the image that we have there that that's a picture of Ikoyi, God knows how many years back. I know there's this popular saying that, oh, the land is too bush, I can't afford to buy, or I don't want to buy it now, that when will development get here? But remember, see this picture, I don't know what 1900 or 1800 this possibly was, but do not say any bush is far. So this is what land banking typically says, where people go up and they mop up properties that are still not yet developed. And the pros of that is that it is still affordable. They require little maintenance, and it has the potential for high returns. I'm going to share the story of one of a real estate mogul. A lot of people might not consider him a real estate mogul because they know him more as a pastor, and that's Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo. I'll share his story going forward, but let's look at it. And then it also offers security. Now, the challenge with land banking is that you tend to lock down your capital for a long time. And then for those of us in West Africa, you can experience land grabbing, land banking, land grabbing. Land grabbing simply is a situation where people, popularly known as land grabbers, we know them better as Omonile, they come and then they sell the land to other people. And then the third challenge is that it is expensive to safeguard the property in terms of title, getting your perfect title, and getting fencing because it may be more than the cost of the land is there itself. So for instance, they tell you that land in one village is very affordable, but the cost to put up a fence in a village is just about the same cost to put it up in a city. So you begin to wonder that pro and the challenge with it. All right, moving on with land banking. Okay, waiting on this to move. Now, land banking is also the key idea behind land banking is that it allows you hold the portfolio asset for 10 to 30 years. And one of the things I'm trying to show with our pictures here is to let you know that it's tied to real estate. And since real estate is tied to the earth, it's one of the ways that the wealthy keep their wealth generationally. Right now in the United States of America, Bill Gates is the largest single owner of agricultural land. And it may shock you to wonder, why does a man that got his money from tech seem to keep buying up agricultural land? He has more lands than a lot of states in our country currently. Now, it is one way that the wealthy have found out that this is a surefire way because land is limited, it's tied to the earth, and it's limited, and it will keep almost always growing because it's a scarce commodity. And this picture shows you Lagos Ikorodu Road. If you're familiar with it, even if you're not, you can see the changes that have happened in just about 60 years, from being a pure bush to being an urban area. All right, let's go to another part of the topic that I enjoy very much, and that is permaculture. So remember, we're introducing farm banking. We started with a background of land banking, and now we're introducing permaculture because this is what I call the bridge. This is the game changer. This is what brings the new edge into it. Now, permaculture is a design thinking system that essentially ensures you provide and produce optimal agriculture with the minimum or the best yield possible. And it is the use of natural resources and builds natural ecosystems. Now, it's also an approach that ensures you design an integrated landscape. So if you look at what people are pushing out there, the circular economy, sustainability, I mean, they're just concluding the COP climate change conference in Dubai, and this is actually the solution. The solution is right here under our noses, and I'm glad one of the thoughts from that conference is the fact that water and treating the earth with respect is one of the solutions to ensuring that we have a future for our generations. Now, with permaculture, one of the things we should note is that there are three core principles or core ethics, which we call, and that is caring for the earth, caring for people, and ensuring that we have a surplus with it, which we tag a fair share. Okay? Earth care, people care, and a fair share. All right? Now, permaculture involves a wide variety of disciplines. You know, I've talked about architecture and agriculture, and that's simply because I come from a background. I'm an architect. My mom was an agriculture teacher. I love nature. So permaculture was naturally a solution for me. But I want a lot of people and as many people as are out there to begin to familiarize themselves with permaculture. It encompasses a wide variety of disciplines, from engineering to architecture to geology to design. It affects the way you think. So I've given some examples here. With an architect, when you introduce permaculture, it will produce responsible housing. And stay with us, you will find that there are lots and lots of opportunities with this field. With an engineer, you know, a lot of engineers do tests on partial replacement, trying to get sustainable materials. But I tell you, permaculture will promote that. It would encourage you to ensure that we don't just take from the earth and then return nothing, because nature abhors a vacuum, but it ensures that we take from the earth in such a way that the earth is able to yield and provide for us generationally. It affects medicine, it affects banking and finance, it affects agriculture, geology and geography, it affects climate change. So this is actually something that everyone living, because there's a Kenyan proverb that says, treat the earth well. It was loaned to you by your children. Now, if we are going to be here and we're going to hand over the earth to our children and they're going to hand it over to their children, we must ensure that we take care of the earth in such a way that is able to take care of future generations. All right? Moving on now, still on permaculture, because like I said, I love it, but we cannot fully exhaust what permaculture will do for you. I'm introducing the concept so that we can go do our research. There's an association for you, which I'm privileged to be a member of. These are the principles of permaculture. These are 12 principles. We can't go through them. I can talk about one or two of them. For instance, point 1 says to observe and interact. Permaculture's main goal is to get people to work with the earth. I mean, if we are stewards of the earth, we're planted in the earth, we must design our buildings and all that we do in a way that it is symbiotic with the earth. Now, the first thing, you buy a plot of land and say you are the owner, you're the client, you just want to come and do a 4-bedroom, you want to come and do a duplex, you want to come and do a commercial property. But what permaculture will tell you is that no, go, let the earth speak to you. What kind of thing will be good? How do you work in conjunction with the earth to design either a building, either a farm, either a project, or get a resource from the earth in a way that is symbiotic and that it will yield what you need and also yield countless others, and we will not destroy the earth doing so. You know, we have a lot of erosion right now. We have a lot of green gas emissions right now, and that's because we skip this part. We just want to overlay our own ideas on the earth. One thing permaculture will tell you is, so let me conclude with that example. You have a piece of property, you invite an architect. Don't just come and say, I want to do this, I want to do this. The next thing is to observe and interact. You may have a tree there that is very good, that can provide good shade, that can provide good ventilation for you. But if you just come, you clear everything and you want to start from fresh, that's not the best idea. And you see, we have just taken the first one and there are still 12 more. Like I said, there's the Greenland Permaculture Association, and I want us to, we can reach up on that and talk about that later. But because of our time, I'm very conscious of our time. Let's move ahead straight into why we are here. At Capzeal, we're introducing farm banking. Now, what do we mean when we say farm banking? Remember, we talked about land banking, which is when you just buy land and you keep it there, hoping that it will develop. We're saying farm banking now is a system of aggregating land in a location that's still developing, which is land banking, and utilizing it for long-term, low maintenance, yet high yield agricultural production. So this is adding the agricultural edge to land banking. Because a lot of real estate, particularly in Nigeria here, what developers, what they do is they go buy land. So you hear Aton, you hear Ibesa, you hear a lot of Immortal, and right now everybody's shouting Ekwe. What a lot of real estate agents do is they buy land, they fence it, and then they leave it, and they're waiting for development. But what we're saying now is that's a good plan, but we're adding a little there that you can actually buy land, plant economic trees on that same land, and by the time you are ready, you can then harvest from the land, the trees, and then your land will have gained value with minimal effort. So when people buy the land, usually they clear it. And after they clear it, then they come back, say 10, 15 years later, and they look at the land and they clear it again. I'm like, no, you wasted time. You could have, while waiting, gained as you wait. So our key thoughts here are: 1, you're buying land; 2, you're planting on the land, and then you're gaining as you are waiting. I hope that's easy enough for us to understand. And we came up with farm banking principles. These are our own indigenous principles, ingenious principles. 1, and they're separated into 3 core levels. 1 is to buy early, buy the earth, buy the future. Then the second part is to plant early, plan and plant for the earth, plan and plan for the future. Then the third part is to wait. We still consider that. So look at it, like I said, there are 3 levels. Level 1, buying matrix. Level 2, the planting matrix. And level 3 is the waiting matrix. So you're buying early, you're buying earth, and you're buying the future. We would explain this. You're also doing the same by planting early, you're planting earth, you're planting the future, and then you're waiting as you watch and wait. All right, let's move on from there. So what do we mean when we say buy early? We're asking that you make money moves. Make those money moves and your money decisions quick. Make them young and keep making them as you're young. If you're here, you're on this call, you're watching this later, you're in your 20s, you're good. You're in your 30s, you're getting late. You're in your 40s, you're getting really late. You're in your 50s, start thinking of your children. You're in your 60s, think of your children. You're in your 70s, think of your children and their children. Now, I'll tell you a story. I finished from university, first degree in 2010. And I was privileged to lead at one of the organizations, the fellowship. And we got a piece of property. Like I said, you see, I've been in between agriculture and architecture for a long while, yeah, pretty much all my life. And we got a piece of property, and because we're just students, we couldn't afford to do a perimeter fencing, but we didn't want subsequent generations not to know that this was going to be the boundary. So what we did was planted flowers. I could have showed you pictures. I've shown members of our community these pictures, I think 2022, at our AGM in January last year. And we planted flowers, and then 10 years later, those flowers have grown thick, but they're just flowers. So we were able to succeed in our primary vision to keep the space for the fellowship. But had we known, it would have been cheaper to have planted some economic trees. And then 10 years later, we could have cut some of them out, left out seedlings that would regrow, and the fellowship will have made a lot of money, or we'll have used the wood to roof the building when we're going to roof 10 years later. But then, you see, It's important that at least I now know now. So it's time to start early. And the second thing is to buy the earth. The important thing why we keep talking about buying the earth is, you see, there is no investment like the earth. And that's why they say real estate is the only estate that is real. Because right now, people are talking about maybe crypto, they're talking about stocks, they're talking about different things. The stock market can crash, crypto, different things can happen to it, different things can happen to a lot of things. But with the earth, you can only lose what's on it, you can't lose it. You can't burn the earth. You can't kill it by flooding it. It will always be there. So we must respect the earth. It cannot literally be stolen in the sense that you wake up one day and your piece of land is no longer there. It's either they change the title, but the land will always be there. And that's why even right now, when Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth, passed on, King Charles, once it became king, he became automatically one of the richest people. Because not only does he have a lot of land that they have kept since the 1700s and earlier, the land of people who have no title, who are probably dead, the tax reverts to him. Interesting, right? The rich currently tie a lot of their wealth to real estate. And number three is to buy the future. I'm conscious of time. Buy the future talks about your vision. For instance, I'll just give you an example of what I did when I was president of my fellowship, how that we planted, but we didn't plant the right thing. So we wanted to safeguard the property, which we did, and that's good. But we could have won if I had known about farm banking then. Of course, we're just creating this, right? We would have planted trees, maybe teak, malina, any Iroko, mahogany. We would have planted those. We would have reaped a good harvest with minimal investment, and the purpose will have still been there. And then this is an economic statement. Usually they say, be fearful when men are greedy, be greedy when men are fearful. But I put it this way: be careful when men are greedy. Understand when everybody is rushing to buy. Be careful, analyze. Now, when men are fearful, it's time for you to buy. I'm not sure it's time for me to tell you my story, or the story I wanted to share about Pastor Matthew Ashimolo. All right, let me share it. I can refer to it over and over again. He told me this, well, he didn't say it one-on-one. He shared it at a conference I attended, and he shared it this year, and he's 71 this year. 32 years ago, he was in the UK, based in the UK. He started buying land in Nigeria, in Mowe. He didn't have a house in Nigeria. He will come and rent hotels in Nigeria. Sometimes his family members will not know that he's around, and he started buying land in Mowe. Now, 32 years ago from today, I mean, that is in the 90s, right? 32 years ago, he was buying land and he was just keeping. Buying land till he accumulated 900 acres. Now, I read an article, I didn't hear this from this, but I heard an article that said he was buying those lands at 100,000 per acre. But what I heard from him specifically was that he bought lands until he bought 900 acres, and he had more lands than even the traditional rulers, so that they were jealous of him, and he fenced that land and he left it for 32 years. Then last year, he started selling some of them, and he started selling at 15 million per acre. The 100,000 to 15 million per acre. Do the maths. Now, what if we had applied farm banking? As he, he fenced it. That means he had money to fence it. Imagine he had planted trees on 900 acres. We'll come back to that. So plant early. You're 32. Imagine 32 plus 32. You'll be 64. You'll still be alive. Pastor Matthew right now is alive. He's enjoying his money. So plant trees, and there's this Chinese proverb that says the best time was 20 years ago. The second best next time is right now. Now plant for the earth. When I say plant for the earth, we're going to show you specific examples. I'm going to show you some of our own examples. Employ a sustainable design thinking system. Don't just plant trees that haphazardly. Plant them in an ergonomic manner. Plant them in a way that will yield the best return. Don't just plant them that, oh, we do this here, we do this here. Design for it. And that is why I started by introducing permaculture, because you can plant in a way that they are both beneficial to you, to the earth, and so that by the time it is time for you to get them, you have an abundant harvest with minimal work. And then plan for the future. Think 30 years. For most of us, if you're here, listening here, because I'm sharing the screen, I can see all the participants, but I'll look and make reference to us later. If you have 30 years to your years, you'll still be here right now. Your children will still be here. And farm banking, we don't even say you have to do 30 years. I recommend people think 30 years, but this system works from as little as 7 years. 7 years, you begin to see substantial returns. All right, let's move on. And the final thing is to watch and wait. And I love the quote that says, eternal vigilance is the price for liberty. Men who own the future, they kept sowing while others were reaping, and saving while others were feasting. Buy the future, sell it not. And my question to you, where were you 10 years ago? Where would you be in 10 years' time? You know, a lot of people, they say things like, yeah, this I have one house. My family has one land. We don't know what to do with it. I hear that a lot. I'm saying, still in church, I think on Sunday, someone's still speaking to me. Oh, I have someone that has a lot of land and doesn't know what to do with it. Believe me, this is an opportunity that can help transform our economy in one generation. President Obasanjo has at least 10,000 acres, hear me, of fully planted teak trees. You see, the man is always fresh. The man is 85 and strong, always fresh. I'm saying not oil palm, teak trees. And he has kept them there for at least 20 years. Amazing stuff, I tell you, amazing. So where were you 10 years ago? Where will you be in 10 years' time? All right, let's move on. Now, what are the processes to do for farm banking? Get the land, whether it is purchase, whether it is tenure or long lease, get the land. Assess what type of land is. You cannot have land by the beach and say you want to go and do teak. If you speak to us, I will simply, in fact, I can give you here, do coconuts. Do coconuts. Do you know right now, not only can you get coconut from it, you can actually get a lot of products from the back, from it. Cocoa peat, there is a lot. Biochar, there is a lot you can get from coconut. Coconut oil, the milk, I mean, there's a lot. But you need to consider your land type, you need to consider your soil type, and then you consider water. Water is so a lot of people in architecture, if you're here and you're from the architecture or engineering background, you would understand that, oh, let's just look at the land, and I want a nice land, a good land that's not slopey for buildings. But people from the agric permaculture background, they begin to look at the water interactions, the energy interactions, because you must consider this. Your land will need water, and water on any property is always a good thing. Please, I'll say this here for free. You have a piece of land, there's water on it. I beg you, don't just go and fill it. There's something that real estate guys do. Is the first thing that they go and do is they go and fill everything. That is not the solution. With permaculture, you can create eco ponds, you can create eco pools, you can plant in some of those areas. Yeah, you may need to fill some areas. If you have roads, you may need to fill some of those areas, but you can do it in such a way that you have a beautiful, robust system. The next step after all of this is to now begin to consider the development level. How many years are you looking at? Are you looking at 5 years? Are you looking at 10 years? Are you looking at 15 years? Are you looking longer? Those are the kind of conversations you want to begin to look at after that. And then you now look at design and your documentation, architectural layout, agricultural layout. Before I go, I'll try and speak a little to an example that I have here, which is a layout that we did for one of our projects. And then once you are done your layout, the next thing is to begin implementation. Establish. A lot of real estate companies, you know what they will do? They will clear the land, and then they will come and do promo on the land, and they will be using that as a video while the land is clear. And then bush will continue to grow, other trees will grow over time. No, once you clear the land, establish it with your trees. So here you have the video where your trees begin to grow. And then you have a plan for your short-term trees. What kind of trees do you want? Now let me come. I'm not sure if you can see my icon. Sorry, can anybody tell me if you can see my icon? Welcome, welcome. I'm just looking through at some of our participants. Yes, Yalaje, good to see you, Anna. Good to see you, my Kelite members. Okay, yes, I see the remark. You can hear me well. Good, thank you. All right, so if you can see my icon now, this is one of the designs we did. And if you can see the green portions, the green portions are designed as parks. So what we mean by parks is they are only going to be, and you see that in another video soon, they are only going to be orchards. They're going to be fruit trees that people, places that people can come and play. You know, imagine going to a tree in your estate and then you can pluck a pear. You can pluck avocado. Another season it is mango. Another season it's oranges. So that's what will happen around here. But everywhere you have the normal residential plots, are going to put trees around them. And it's such that when you're driving through the central place, you are meeting on the park all around you at different sites. Don't worry, there's a video. I hope the internet is strong enough for us to stream it. And let's look at this. This is the part I added for a lot of my architecture friends. You know, I find some people wondering that are you now an agriculturist or is you an architect? Well, I like to look at myself more as a mix of both. I found permaculture, or can I say permaculture found me? And in its finding of me, I found a very interesting link between those two professions. All right. Like I say, they are very similar professions in the sense that they deal primarily with the earth, living things, and everything that binds them. So architecture, agriculture, they both deal with the earth. They both deal with living things and the science that binds them. And you see similarities that I've listed here. You know, it would be funny for you to note that architects will talk about ecosystem, and then agriculturists will talk about ecosystem. Architects talk about the climate, the same with agriculturists. We both talk about plants, but for different purposes. We both talk about structures, waste management, recycle, climate smart. All of these things that we talk about are actually, so I find it very interesting that these two distinct professions that are from basic human needs are actually very intermarried. But most times, the plant scientists, agronomics, agriculture guys, they just do their thing. They do what they know how to do best. The architecture guys do their thing. They do what they know how to do best. But once there is a sweet marriage, believe you me, human beings will enjoy it. Human beings will be grateful for it. And that mix, I find, has been called, I wanted to give it the name agriculture, but I find that it has been called agriculture, agritecture, by other brilliant minds. Now, let me just share some of the ideas that I put out there. For instance, instead of just having a normal roof garden or a flat roof, our flat roofs can become greenhouses. We can have passive solar design. Architects will understand what I'm saying. Passive solar design that incorporates plants who provide oxygen, take out CO2, and they allow for the interaction and the movement of air. Now, for instance, when you're doing an architectural design, you talk about landscape, but rather I talk nowadays about foodscape. Why should I just say flower that is so beautiful, but I can't eat it? But I can tell you that a tomato plant is really beautiful and really tasty. The same with a pepper plant, habanero, but I'm not just a fan of raw pepper, yeah? But I know there are some of my guys that love pepper. So beautiful. Plants can be edible and beautiful. Now, we have edges in architecture, but right now we're saying improvise by using food edges over normal edges. In a residential estate, you would have gardeners. In our own estate, you would have agronomists, because they will not just be tending for landscape ornamental plants, they'll be tending to greenhouses, to edible plants. So imagine you're coming out of your house, your gardener is not a roadside gardener. He's an agronomist in charge of the estate to ensure that the estate is sustainable in that it can produce adequate food for itself, and it also is a net exporting estate. So we have Amen Estates, Ituno, we have a lot of big estates there developing, and right now, these are some of the concepts that we need to have. Everybody's talking about smart cities, smart designs, and we're looking at importing technology. And what we're simply saying is, don't try and import technology yet. Technology is great, yeah, but there are things that we can do right now. Living walls. For instance, we know that the sun rises on the east, sets on the west. So for architects, we do not like the west. For farmers, they love the west. So for architects, we try and block out the west sun. Farmers want the west sun. So why don't we have a wall that is blocking out the west, but is planting the west, a living world. These are concepts that are not necessarily. So as I began to think about them, and in my research, I found out that there are other people thinking like that. There are other people who have begun to test it in different areas, and it has been working beautifully. It just needs to become mainstream, and that's why we're once again pushing it out there. The next thing is to have orchards. So we want to have tree houses, we want to have shade trees, but can't you have, do you want to tell me that a mango tree will not be a shade tree? The only challenge you can have with a mango tree is a mango falling on your head, and I don't think that's a bad challenge because you can eat the mango. So a shade tree. And you know the funny thing, in architecture, we talk about rainwater harvesting. In agriculture, we talk about rainwater harvesting. I see a marriage, and that's what we're here for. That's what the future and what we're positioning ourselves for. And then swales. I'll show you a swale as part of our examples today. Over natural drainages. Then nature ponds instead of swimming pools. Swimming pools are sometimes a health hazard, child hazard. You see a lot of children that sometimes have issues with swimming pools, but nature ponds are an ideal solution. They can be short and they can be healthy, they can provide food, they can provide a natural ambience. In fact, abroad, houses that have pond properties tend to experience 15 to 20% increase in their property valuations just because they have a very good nature pond. All right, let's move on. I see I spent quite a time here. All right, we can just read through this and we'll try and make some of the slides available so that we can go through that. I'm conscious of our time. I don't want it too long for people. Some of our ideas out there. Consider plants as design elements. You know, for agriculture guys here, all of this will seem so normal. That yes, plants can be dehumidifiers. But you know what architects will do? We go and bring every equipment. Plants can work with air quality control. Plants can do pest control. You don't like mosquitoes, you don't like certain pests, plants, and in fact, you know the funny thing, a nature pond can solve the problem of mosquitoes because all you need to do is introduce underwater light and fish. When you introduce underwater light and fish, the underwater light will attract insects and bugs at night, and the fish will come and pick them up. Simple, free idea, just shared. Temperature control food. Another idea that we're sharing to people, I know, is to design from the future backward. Imagine what you want to have in 20, 30 years. So right now, I have a challenge in that I don't know the kind of house that I want to build anymore because the kind of future that I'm imagining is changing graphically rapidly. Build with generations in mind. You can build by planting. And what we want to say is, in our third point is that plant, design twice before you plant once. Run the idea over and over again. Be impulsive about it, but go through it as you grow through it. All right. Still more ideas here. Conserve energy. That's the goal of passive design. And one of the things I encourage people to do with water. So you know what architects do? When it comes to water, we take it out. But for farmers, what they want to do is they want to take it and they want it to run through their system and then they run out. For permaculturists, what we want to do with water is that we want to take it and put it in the earth. As we keep it in the earth, it becomes available because our plants will get roots and they will find them. All right. You need to do a full permaculture course to get the full idea. Create and connect systems, link them together. Look at the Mandela pattern in the image there. Imitate nature. There is a lot of perfect design. You know, there's a 5-story building, I think in Zimbabwe, that was imitating the ant hill. That you can build story buildings, and I'll show one of our projects. I mean, it's an agricultural project, but it's a building. Right now on the farm where it is, people literally prefer to go and sit there in the afternoon because it was built using bricks and built with a lot of fenestration, windows, hair movement. So in the hot afternoon, if you come out, there is a remarkable difference in the temperature flow. It's very cool inside, even though it is hot outside. All right, moving on. Now it's time to get to know us. Wakabzil, I'm privileged to be the lead. And we're an environmental consulting firm. You must have seen that. We're able to combine both architecture and agriculture with permaculture. One of our things we love to do right now, and our focus into the future, is not just the regular architecture, but permaculture, agriculture, sustainable ecosystem, And some of the projects that we're doing right now is resource design and development. And lastly, we also do architecture. So resource design, taking large pieces of property, a farm, turning it into an ecosystem that will be very beautiful. All right, now let's talk about some of our projects as we begin to bring it to a close. This is Toilet Farm Lab in Awowo. It's a massive project. It's 300 acres, but what we got to do was a privilege to start up the permaculture side. So like I said, the design you're seeing on the left, you can see here, is purely a permaculture design. So it's not just an architectural design, it's a permaculture design. Sadly, well, so the building to the right is this first two here, if you can see my cursor. This first two here, that's what you're seeing here. So we designed it to be like a place for people to come and see. And then by the time it was time to construct and we sent the bill to the client, it was like, hey, the bill was high. But thankfully, we're able to work out something. So the real design now, we've had to reduce it. We couldn't use the steel that we originally designed for. But what this project has done is that we are able to showcase some of the potentials and possibilities of mixing both of these together. And this is what we're talking about farm banking, how that your farm can become your bank, how your farm can be something you take to the bank. The land that you have lying fallow, with minimal input, you can actually grow lots of income from it. So like I said, you can see that we've had to change from the roof. But if you can see what we've done here, and this picture was sent to me yesterday, so it's still a work in progress. So we're not done. Here is a sit out for, this is a neem tree. In Yoruba parlance, we call that dongoyaro. So it's going to grow and outgrow that. The trunk will be in that stage. People can then sit out around it. If you can see this place, what we're intending to do there is to plant things, vines, ugu, cucumbers that will grow over this trellis system, so that every time you're coming here. But you see this building, even though in its incomplete form, when people go there right now, we're unable to achieve what we wanted to do because of the budget, and it was going to be still. But at least we came up with something close and similar. But this building right now is about the coolest building without any form of electricity. This will save electricity costs. It will create new systems. This is just one of our projects. And if you remember, we're talking about swells, about what we want to do with water. This is a swell. People just do drainages and they want to, take water out, channel water out. But you see what a swell does from this first image is that it takes water in and then it sinks it into the ground. And we dug that out. So the brick building that you saw is just about 40 meters off this place. The land before it suffers a lot of erosion. But right now, once this swell was in place, and this was a picture I was taking after a rainfall to show that it's working, after rainfall, that is working perfectly. Now, right now, the land after it does not have erosion, simply because of the introductions of this. So we are saying that with proper design, you can design in such a way that, one, you don't have erosion problems, you're able to produce good food. You don't even need irrigation per se. You may need it at some time during the dry part, but by year 2, year 3, you will find that this will naturally flow. So there is a lot that the industry needs to come into the knowledge about, particularly from permaculture designers. The field is out there, the opportunities are there. Now let's look at the second project that we're looking at. This one is purely a land banking project that we have turned into a farm banking project. Now, this is a different layout. Now, the blue portions show the commercial part. The green one are the parks. So every time we do any project, parks are normal with us. Now, then the red ones are the residences, while the yellowish or mustard color are also residences. Then the brown are for services. Now, so just familiarize yourself with that layout. We will take it a bit further there. So inside the middle point, what people do is then plant ornamental trees. With farm banking, this is what we're telling you to do. In the middle point here, plant fruit trees. You can put your date palm, you can put your coconut, you can plant fruit trees, so that when you have your agronomists working on the farm, they will begin to get a yield. Now, everywhere you have a residential property, is what we're asking that you plant your economic trees. So now look at it. So we're not just asking, go plant your trees everywhere. Where roads will be left. If you can see from the project, roads will be left as roads, and where houses will be, we'll plant trees all around them, such that people who participate in the project, they're able to say, oh, I already want a kola nut tree, I want a cashew tree, I want a mango tree. So imagine you are building for the future, and by the time you get there, your fruit trees are already producing. So you bought a land, and while you are waiting, it is growing. So that way you are getting double in one. So that's the farm banking idea that we're pushing for people to always see, to always know, to always understand. Because it is a no-brainer, essentially, because it's an opportunity to get 2 in 1. And we have a video here. I hope the internet is strong enough for us to see it. We're almost done. Let me try and play the video here. Let me know, just do a thumbs up if you're able to see the video. I don't know if you can hear it. So you can hear my voice. Those are greenhouses at the beginning. These are farm banking projects. The roads are left as roads. But everywhere, commercial parts, residential parts, we put economic trees, putting trees, putting malinas, putting different economic trees. As you see the commercial portion, so the first part is the commercial part to your right, and then immediately after the commercial portion are the park. And then the park you have trees and places that people can see. I hope you can hear me. So the park is there. That shows the park has 2 trees. And at the center of the road, you have the line of trees. And on both sides, you have commercial trees. So now once it's time for anybody to have to now here, once it's time for anybody to come in, that is the problem. So this is farm banking. There you have a problem. I see your comments. Thank you. Okay. So now it's time for our comments, questions. Do we understand it? Do we get it? If there are no questions or comments or feedback, then I will say thank you so much. But I would like to hear comments, questions. Let's understand the idea essentially. Let me look at people. Thank you, thank you. Anna, thank you. Oh, I see someone is raising hands. Yes, yes, yes. That's my yoga. Mr. Lamashala, please go ahead. Please go ahead. You can unmute.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I will especially thank Mr. Dean for this wonderful presentation. And honestly, this is the best way to spend this time. So my question for you, Mr.
Sorry, sir. We are struggling to hear you. It's not loud enough. Can you please help us either push them out to the speaker or project louder, please?
Hello?
All right.
Hello?
Yes, sir. It's better now.
Okay, fine. So I was actually thanking you for the wonderful presentation. and to also admit that there's no better place I could have spent this time this night, if not for here. Thank you, so inspiring and very loaded. Now, I just want to put this to you, sir, because these are very critical issues that you have raised that touches, our nation, even that also concerns generations yet unborn. So I would want to suggest, if it's possible for you to, as a company, push this beyond here, peradventure you could organize a stakeholder forum that will gather together players in the real estate sector, government officials, probably traditional communities, and a robust stakeholder engagement such that you share these ideas with them. For example, a lot of real estate companies are springing forth, and we see them all around. You just see them, the next thing they carry their bulldozers to bulldoze all the lands and all that. And, these lands are not being really maximized. So I was wondering if it's possible for your company to push this further by organizing a stakeholder engagement such that these real estate, players will be there, even maybe people in the government circle, Ministry of Environment, the ministry that is in charge of all these lands and all that would also be there, so that I believe that by the time people get to hear this kind of ideas, wonderful ideas that you have presented tonight, it will help us to really join hands together to really, save the future, just like you have actually advocated. So that's just my own contribution tonight, to find out what your company can do to this effect. Thank you very much.
Amazing as usual. Every time I hear it, you always inspires. Thank you very much, Mr. Olorunsola. Yes, I mean, it's we're starting here, we're pushing this out here, and like we both know, I mean, this has been a journey of just about 18 months now. But yes, we want to visit cooperatives, visit the ministry, visit other places, organize this. If it's something you're willing to come on the journey with us, I mean, it would be a privilege. It's something that we can have this conversation. Also, I mean, we want to visit different stakeholders, as it were. Presenting our ideas to them is not a problem. One thing I do want us to do, while we waited to this, because we've had this idea since we had our permaculture PDC essentially. One thing I want us to do is just come with talks alone. I wanted to come with the fact that we are doing it currently. We are positioning to the future. So, thankfully, that's what we're doing. So a few members are also, people are also buying into that. And yes, definitely, this is something we're making available. In fact, this is just one of our futuristic projects like that. The second one, we call it Farm and Trees, but there's no time to talk about this at this particular one because this webinar is strictly for farm banking. So, but yes, to answer your question, and yes, we would love to do that. We will plan to do that. Thank you so much for your large heart and for your kind words. Grateful, sir. All right. Do we have any other person that has a comment, a question? Okay, I see there are some messages. Let me try and get to them. Okay, I see considering planting the trees in the middle of the road. Can you imagine coconuts? All right. So thank you very much. My examples of coconuts are not necessarily, the first time I used coconut was for when you have wet land around beach areas. So when we are planting things like that, those ought to be for the park. But for the middle of the roads, mangoes, and it is not falling in such a way that there is no way. There is a pathway where people walk. Falling on the road is not a problem because we are going to maintain those. So there are specific trees that we're going to put them. The kind of trees, they could be ornamental, they could be perfume trees, but they could be also fruit trees that you pluck. And believe me, even having them in your house is a beautiful thing. So, and I don't see planting it on the road has been a problem. You see, even in Malaysia, on both sides, what Malaysia has stopped to is oil palm. In Nigeria, if you go drive on our express, you will see a lot of wild, untamed forest. It's good. But in Malaysia, you will see well-cultivated oil palm. No wonder they're one of the leaders in the world today. What I'm saying that right now, what we can do is to plan and cultivate what we can plant and ensure we earn an income from. So coconuts are not designed for the center of the road. I said dates. So the kind of things that would work at the center of the road are definitely not those heavy ones, but things that people can even reach out to get a grab of while they are parking, and it still constitutes increase. So it will not constitute a necessary nuisance, but I get your idea, and I'm sure you understand me also. Thank you. Mr. Shijioke. I struggle to call your name because your name and mine sounds alike, but mine is Yoruba version. Thank you very much for your comments. I'm grateful. Thank you also for your second comment, Mr. Malik. Yes, permaculture is a way of life, and it's about thinking and as you design what works for you. Now, when some of the examples that I gave here, for instance, you can't just wake up and now start doing swales everywhere. But people, that's why what I said is for different sites, the first thing is what is best suited for this place. What is best? For instance, a site that has too much water does not need one swale. There are sites that need swales, there are sites that need drainage channels. Excuse me, please. So we need to understand. That's why we need to understand from different ones. Well, thank you for your comments. I like the fact that they are very rich. All right. Do we have any questions or feedback? If not, I would like to call it pause for tonight. All right, it appears that there are no more questions. This is to thank everyone that has joined us. If you drop your email to either the number or you send us a feedback, we can send the slides out to you. If you register with us, send the slides out to you. Thank you so much, Musola. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Chidubin. Thank you, Mr. Chijoke. Cornelius, I see you. Mr. Malik, very good engagement. Thank you. Mayoga, nice to see you. Deji, good to see you here. Dotso, respect always, respect always. Good to see you. And Techno Spark, of course, I don't know who that is. Thank you. I see your comments. Thank you so much. All right, I'll stop sharing now. So remember to either reach out if there are any questions. I will take it up from here. But probably you'll see us in another engagement at another time. Thank you so much, everyone, for this opportunity, and do have a very lovely evening. Good night, everyone. Okay, where to send your email? So I'm just going to drop that now. The number or our mail. You can send it to for you should have the community manager's number. So you can send it to the community manager's number or the caption email group. Now we can send it to you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you to